We carry on with your fix of entertainment on this particular Freestyle Friday. I go by the name of Barry Moses, or it's Barry on every social media platform. Special thanks to Hilda Watifi for the bulletin. I hope you got informed, started your weekend on an informed note. We were with Abdul in studio during the intro, but I did you one better this time. I have a queen as well. Before I introduce them, 22162 is the SMS line. Start with YM254. Never forget to leave your name and where you're watching us from. Special thanks to DJ Khalifa as well for the amazing African music. That's how we keep it at Y254. And talking about Y254, it's 1 year anniversary, and today we're taking it to Nibs from 3 p.m. till 6. More details coming your way, but what I can say for now, it's going to be lit. You know it's lit when it's Friday, you know it's lit when it's Y254 anniversary, and you know it's lit when you have DJ Khalifa in the building. So on to my guests. They're professionals, or they're more knowledgeable about the Muslim religion than I am, so I brought them in the spirit of celebrating Ramadan month. Karibuni sana.
Oh, thank you, Bari.
Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. I had one job and one job only. Like in Pata, alaikum salam.
Yeah, you tried. It's wa alaikum salam.
Oh, wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, but
right.
You tried.
I tried.
At least I get an idea of what
I get an E for effort.
Yeah.
All right, talk to your people, Nasra. I think they know you, but if they're watching you for the first time.
Oh, okay. I'm Nasra Nurain. Most of you know me from the An-Nasheed show every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. But today I'm here with Barry on Y in the Morning, and I'll be your host for today, or your guest for today. And yes, let's keep the conversation moving. Kumbuka, it's 22162. Bring your questions, your comments, and everything. Starting with the name?
It's YM254.
YM254.
And I definitely have them questions. I'll be bringing them your way. Abdul, you were with us in studio earlier, but in case they're joining us right now, they got to know. Talk to the people.
So guys, good morning. My name is Abdul Razak Ngutia, and to my fellow Muslims, I'll say Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Kareem and Saw Maqbul. 22162 is the SMS line, starting with YM254.
Yes, you guys learned so first.
Yeah, if you've watched Tukumbi Wak Islam on Channel 1, we're going to be giving you more information about the Ramadan. But for the sake of the young people, we're here to make
We're taking it a notch lower, a notch high.
We're taking it 10 times a notch high.
All right, I like this. So Abdul gave us a definition or his understanding of Ramadan, and it was really enlightening. Because
I hope you remember.
Yes, but I can't recite it. Maybe I paraphrase it.
Yeah.
But that is why we have Nasra in studio
Definitely.
today. So give me an understanding of your own about Ramadan. What does Ramadan mean to you?
Okay, Ramadan. As for me, it means like. By the way, it is on this holy month that we are fasting, which is the largest act of Islam. And it is in this holy month of Ramadan that we abstain from everything. It is on this holy month of Ramadan to which Allah promised us to guide us on the right way, and He brought Quran on this holy month of Ramadan. So it is the month of Quran, to which people are supposed to be reading Quran like each and every moment, spending their time we should abstain from everything, from the vices and everything, illusions and all kind of sins. So Quran will keep us on the right track, and by reading it, it will be like, you know, guiding us and giving us, you know, when I read Quran, there's that feeling I get, like moyo umetulia.
It's refreshing.
I feel that peace of mind and everything. So yes, Ramadan, nimesema kila kitu. So in this holy month of Ramadan, we are supposed to fast,
read the Quran,
and increase ibadat. Ibadat is the worshiping, like praying 5 times a day, submitting yourself to Allah, the Almighty, and keeping away from the vices and sins.
All right. Before we get into the do's and don'ts of Ramadan, Abdul, I'd like to know, it varies sometime, yeah? It's not like June, it's the month. It varies from time to time, right?
Yeah.
Why is this? Because for us Christians, 25th December is Christmas Day. It will never change.
Exactly.
Easter changes sometime. but you get my point.
Yeah.
Why does it vary from time to time?
The reason why it varies is because the Islamic calendar is a bit shorter than the Gregorian calendar. The Islamic calendar depends heavily on the use of sighting of the moon. So it means that there are no months in the Islamic calendar that go beyond 30 days. It's either 29 or 30. There is no 28. So it's 29, 30, 29, 30 depending on the sighting of the moon, and it means the calendar is shorter than that of the Gregorian calendar. That's why it varies.
All right, so meaning you're older than you really are.
Yes, I'm older than I really am.
Like Islamic calendar.
Exactly.
Alright, so Nasra, mafanzi wako wa Swahili wanasema unaweza wajulisha ujumbe mkuu katika kutumia lugha ya Kiswahili. Wanapenda ukiongea Kiswahili sana.
Wanapenda nikiongea Kiswahili.
Yeah.
Sasa niwapatie ujumbe.
Lakini bado ni mimi nitakuuliza swali.
Okay.
Utaniallow niulize na Kizungu lakini.
Yeah, it's okay.
Alright. So some of the do's and don'ts of Ramadan, and which one do you struggle with the most?
Okay, I struggle with the most.
Give us some of the do's and don'ts.
It's Quran. Like katika mwezi huu mtukufu Ramadhani, we are supposed to be like reading Quran like 99% or 100%. But for me, sometimes do your job, I have to do some other things. Like most of the times I'm outside.
Just hold the mic steady.
Oh, okay. Most of the times I'm outside. Na yeah, I have Quran on my phone. Lakini hata hivyo pia Nairobi ni hii. Ukiweka simu hivi maybe kwa gari.
Goes away.
So that is what you struggle with.
Yeah, I struggle the most. Lakini pia I try my best. Najaribu kusoma the little time I get, nasoma Quran, nafanya nini. Alafu pia there is adhkar ambayo unafaa like usome most of the times, like Allahumma innaka afuun karimun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna.
Translate.
Okay, like Mwenyezi Mungu atupatie like kama toba vile na nini. Na pia kuchangamsha mdomo pia. Unajua ukifunga there is that kind of bad smell kwa sababu you've not been eating like the whole day na nini. Of course hata hivyo kuchangamsha mdomo unasema hivyo, alafu kuna hiyo kuna na Allahumma innaka afuun karimun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. There is okay, imenipotea lakini inshallah ikikuja tena kwa akili I'll just say it. Alafu another thing is that kujiepusha like being closer to a man. Especially kama si mume wako, na hata kama ni mume wako there is restrictions.
There is restrictions.
Yes. Ufai kukaribiana like kushikana ama doing that act during the day, it's not allowed. Or even kissing.
So
and
you abstain
everything
from any sensual relations.
Yes, abstaining from all that.
Sensual relation. And I bet, Abdul, you struggle with that a lot.
I've got a lot of additions to make, but starting with what she's just said about abstaining from contact with men if you're a woman, and if you're a guy, you have to also abstain from getting into contact with women.
Hold that thoughts, Abdul.
Yeah.
22162 is the SMS line. If you're a Muslim brother or a sister out there, we'd like to know which do or don't do you struggle with the most during this season of Ramadan. 22162 is the SMS line. Start with YM254. As Abdul tells us about abstinence.
Exactly. So, fast. The word fast itself, what it means in Islam, because there is the literal meaning that everyone knows in English, and then there is the Islamic meaning which has been defined. It has been defined from the Hadith and the Quran, which is the fast of your senses. There is the fast of the eye, the fast of the mouth, the fast of the ears, and there is the fast of the hands and the mind as well, and the legs. Apart from the normal fasting of abstaining from food, there is all that fast. Now for the eyes, you have to make sure if you're a guy, you don't look at what people actually look at and say, oh, you love me, baby, and all that.
I like the way you translated it.
So you're also
okay.
You're also supposed to avoid looking at things that are going to bring you temptations. You might not look at the ladies. You might not be overt as that. That you might end up reading stuff that also corrupts your thinking. And the fast of the mouth is you're supposed to avoid backbiting. Actually, in Islam, backbiting is like eating the corpse of your brother. In the Quran, the Almighty Allah asks, would you like to eat the corpse of your brother while he's dead? And then he likens it. He makes it. He compares it with gossiping. So you're supposed to avoid gossiping completely.
Gossiping is a sin.
Gossiping is a sin. You're supposed to avoid gossiping totally, and also you're also supposed to avoid insulting people. That's the fast of the mouth.
That is the fast of the mouth.
Exactly.
Right.
Now that of the ear, because actually people not think that the ear can sin, but it really will sin a whole lot. Listening to stuff that have got words that are not morally upright, vulgar language, exactly, provocative language. You're not supposed to listen to such things. But also, you are supposed to avoid listening to other people's conversations.
Eavesdropping.
Eavesdropping. In Islam, there is the ruling which says, أفضل الإسلام المرئي تركه ما لا يغنيه, which means the goodness of a Muslim is to stay away from everything that does not concern you. So do not listen to other people's conversations. Don't eavesdrop at all. Now the hands, like Nasra said, you're supposed to avoid the touching and all that.
Contact with
with women
of the opposite sex.
People of the opposite sex. You're supposed to avoid that totally. Of course, it's not allowed in Islam to get into contact with people of the opposite sex physically if they're not, if they are people that you can marry. If they're not of your family, you're not supposed to get into physical contact with them. So you also have to make sure you don't get into such contact with them. But now, something that's very interesting here is that of kissing and showing affection to your spouse if you're married. But I'm sure most of us here
is that like a time that
there is the time. I'll come to the timing, but this is very important. That of showing affection to your spouse. There were two instances where two people came to the Prophet of Allah, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and they asked him. The first one was a young man and asked, "My wife and I love each other so much, and we like to display affection towards each other, of course in an enclosed environment." And then the Prophet, peace be upon him, told him, "For you, you're supposed to avoid contact with her completely. She's your wife, but avoid during the day, the month of Ramadan." And then he said to the older man, about 50s and above, and he told him, "You're allowed to kiss your wife. You're allowed to."
Why is that discrimination?
Now, this is the wisdom here. For the young man, we know that young people have got boiling blood. You get into one.
The hormones are raging.
Exactly, they're raging, and you get into contact with them, and you're now like a waterfall. But for the older person, they know how to control themselves. They don't have that urge that will lead them to lose control. So it's.
Do you think these rules were laid to favor the old people? Because the old people were the people who made these rules.
Now there are two words that you've got to understand. Like there is the literal meaning, like I told you initially, and there's the Islamic meaning. So fairness and justice. So fairness is all about everyone gets everything equally, but justice is everyone gets what they deserve and what they can manage. That's justice. Now back to what you asked me about the timing. There are of course timings for when you start the Saum, when you start the fasting, and when you break the fasting, and what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. So with the timing, you have to wake up early, very early.
As early as what time, Abdul?
As early as, I checked my timetable today, and it was saying as early as 3:40. You're supposed to make sure you've woken up at the time, and you prepare your meal, and you eat. But not a whole lot. Just eat enough to get you by, like, eating like on a normal basis. And then anytime thereafter, especially when it's towards the morning prayer, the Fajr prayer, you're supposed to abstain from food, because you might, once people have prayed the Fajr prayer, if you eat, you're not fasting on that day. Even if you abstain from food for the rest of the day, your fasting is not acceptable, because the morning prayer has already bypassed you. Now in the evening, when you're supposed to eat is when the adhan, or the call to prayer for the evening prayer, has been met. That's the 6:30, the 6:45. Sometimes the times vary from 6:30, 6:45, 6:55. But you will. The
times vary depending on what?
The times vary depending on the rising and the setting of the sun. Sometimes the daylight is longer than the night time, and sometimes the night time is longer than the daytime. So the times vary. Even for the morning prayer and the evening prayer, the times vary so much. So it might be 6:30, 6:50, 6:45, or sometimes it can even be 7, depending on how late the sun sets. So immediately the call to prayer has been met. That's when you break your fast with dates. That's the the sunnah or the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the tradition of Muslims is to break the fast with the dates. 3 dates, of course. 3 is the favorite number, or at least make it the odd numbers. And if you don't have dates, then of course you can afford water. So it's more blessed to break your fast with the dates. And if you don't have dates, then it's more blessed to break your fast with water than any other thing, be it milk, be it pizza, or any other thing that someone can think about. Yep.
So in the morning when you wake up, all you can take is dates or
No,
water?
no. When you wake up in the morning, you can just take normal breakfast. You can take rice, you can take tea, you can take coffee, you can take
So in the
anything
evening,
like
it's
it.
when you can take dates or water, nothing else.
Nothing else. But then after the Maghrib prayer, after the evening prayer, after the 6:45 prayer, that's when you can eat the normal dinner. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. And that's a task. Back to you, Nasir. The Muslim religion is renowned for having distinct rules for different sexes, for the women and for the men. And is there difference in this case as well? Do we have different rules for women and different rules for men during the Ramadan period?
Yeah, absolutely. Like for the ladies, we are supposed like this applies to both, like dressing decently. But for the men, it's avoid wearing tight jeans and tight.
The men are also
Actually, you're also not supposed to wear shorts.
shorts.
Anything that's above your knee, you're not supposed to
You're
wear.
not supposed to wear it.
Yep.
And actually, it's a fashion. Like squeeze si mnavanga nini mnasema nini pencil ama mnavitanga. Yeah, like everyone is
just hold
into
the
that
back steady.
thing. Okay, everyone is
the
is
ragged
into-
jeans,
the ragged jeans and everything. But it is in this holy month of Ramadan that watu wanahimizwa sana or emphasized kuvaa thobe, the kanzu.
the kanzu.
Yeah.
Alright.
And also, like as you can see, Abdul, he's also decent.
Very
Okay.
decent.
And as for me, yeah, I'm trying to be
You're
decent.
covered.
Yeah,
as
I'm
well.
covered, alhamdulillah. And for the ladies, piha, you're not supposed to wear tight stuffs and to wear habaya. And you can also wear a dress as much as eco decent. Na hakuna hiyo shouting colors and stuff. Alafu another thing is that we have to be like, for the Muslims, unafaa ku abstain from wearing perfume. Like it's not allowed.
That's for the ladies.
For the ladies.
That's for the ladies.
For the ladies, yeah. Because the moment like an opposite.
Is that because perfume attracts men?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That is the reason.
Yeah, that's the reason,
It's
actually.
of the hadith where the woman that deliberately wears perfume and then walks among men. Say for instance, you're just walking and then you see people on the streets and you just walk by them with that perfume. You get their attention. It has been, it's a bit harsh, but I'm gonna say it because it's in the hadith. It says it's like, you know, it's like the way the ladies in Koinange do, and you know, it's just, you know, like attracting attention to yourself. It's considered whorish or slutty. At least you do not do that at all. Yeah.
All right. In the Quran.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Not
it's
in the-
not,
that's in the
it's
hadith.
it's a hadith, not Quran. Okay, and another thing is that like for the men or both men and women who smoke, they should abstain from that too. Like you're not supposed to smoke like during the day
During the
at
day.
all.
You can only smoke when you break the
fast.
The fast.
Yeah.
All right.
But it is even better, like just abstaining from it mpaka
During the
Ramadan.
holy month.
Yeah, during the holy month of Ramadan. Then another thing is that for both men, for the female, sorry, tukiwa kwa periods, like we are not supposed to be eating outside, or even at home you are not allowed kula mbele ya mtu yoyote. You have to hide yourself maybe in a room, and if kama uko na ile njaa sana, lakini pia kama unaweza kukaa bila kula, it's more permissible na nini.
Talking about women, there is something that's very important because we're built differently biologically. Now, for women who are at the top of their month, I would say that. Yeah, you know, you understand what I'm saying.
For lack of better.
For lack of, you know, we don't want to be extreme. At least everybody understands. So for women who are at the top of their month, they're not supposed, you know, for them, they are allowed to eat, like she said. But of course, like she said again, you're not supposed to eat in public. You know, go to a restaurant with your hijab and your niqab and all that. You're a representation of Islam, and you go and you start eating. People wonder, what exactly is
What-
going on? You know, this is Ramadan, but she's eating, so it's not a must for them to fast. It's not a must for people. Start thinking it's not a must for Muslims to fast. So they're just, you know, wanajipandizia. It's like, you know, they're just exaggerating. They want to be seen as the most pious. So you're not supposed to be seen in public eating. Now that's for women who are at the top of their month, and also for women who have nifas. That's the blood that comes after childbirth. Actually, it comes for about 40 days after childbirth, and they're not allowed. Also, they're allowed to eat. For them, they're also allowed to eat and lactating.
So there are a few exceptions here and there.
There are a few exceptions, and also lactating mothers are allowed to eat. Now let's deviate a little bit to the general population. Everyone who is sick and has to take medicine, and if they do not take that medicine, they're going to be, you know, they're going to be in trouble medically. They're also allowed to take that medicine. Now, fasting of the stomach is to make sure that nothing that nourishes your body or makes you comfortable or makes you, you know, nothing is supposed to enter your stomach that nourishes you. So it means medicine as well is not allowed. But if you're sick to an extent that if you don't take medicine, then you have to eat, then you are supposed to take medicine.
Looks like she has a... She wants to conflict something.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to highlight on the sick earth issue. Like squeezy, utaona mtu anasema, oh, kichwa inaniuma, I can't fast. Like they're just looking
It's just a bunch of excuses.
Yeah, excuses na nini, atachukua tu dawa na kula, okay, my head is paining, oh, nasikia hivi. You have to be extremely sick, like hauwezi funga kabisa, and you're supposed to be on medication.
So
that's the only way.
Medication is also to be avoided.
Yes, but remember, after Ramadan, you have to lipiza like all the days in your mewacha, like during the holy month of Ramadan. Yeah.
Wow.
One more thing that's very important for, now this is for guys, because we talked about ladies, what they're supposed to avoid and what they're supposed to do. Now for guys, you're also supposed to abstain from things that are going to make you, yes again, we're gonna say it, but we'll avoid being graphic here. So you're supposed to avoid
temptation.
Not temptation. You're supposed to avoid anything that's going to cause you to, you know, to
arouse.
Not to arouse. Okay, to get to that extreme point of, people like to call it calming. Okay, you're supposed to avoid that. I have to say it.
All right.
You're supposed to avoid anything that's going to cause you to ejaculate, because ejaculation as well is it actually, if you're in prayer, ejaculation causes you to be impure to perform prayer, and it also causes you to have, it also invalidates your fast. Now this is very important, because there are those people who, you know, when it gets to that extreme, it gets to that extreme for them. So they are supposed to avoid. If it happens, then you're not fasting anymore. Even if you abstain from food, you're still not fasting, because you have had that part. You've had that pleasure of that. So fasting, again, it brings us to, you're supposed to deny yourself any intrinsic physical pleasure like that of coming as well. And one more thing that people will wonder is, you know, what if you forget and take water? Or what if you forget and, you know, a friend offers you, a non-Muslim friend buys something, and they're so kind and they offer you something and tell you, hey, you know what, this samosa tastes so good, and like, oh yeah, might I taste it? And you test it, and then in the middle of chewing it, you remember, oh, I'm fasting. You're supposed to spit it. You're supposed to spit it. If you swallow it, you've broken your fast. Now the thing here is about consciousness. The hadith of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, says that the pen has been lifted among several kinds of people. The pen of judgment, that is. So the pen of judgment has been lifted upon someone who is asleep. If someone is asleep and they insult you, they're not guilty of
and
that.
you have to be asleep. You don't have to be pretending
really
to be
asleep. Yeah, you have to be really asleep. Okay, you know those people who talk while they're in their sleep. So the pen of judgment has been lifted upon those people who are sleeping. The pen of judgment has also been lifted upon those people who have not gone beyond the state of adolescence. So those also are not reprimandable on anything wrong they do. It's the adult who is reprimandable.
They're only to be guided.
Yeah, the guardian is guilty of what the child does because of not guiding them. Now the pen has also been lifted upon the people who are mad, like you're nuts, and so it has been lifted upon them. But for every other person, the pen of judgment has not been lifted. Also, the pen of judgment has been lifted upon those people who have forgotten, if you've forgotten, or if you're ignorant about something. But once you get the knowledge that what you did was wrong, you should not do it again. So now it also goes into fasting, that when you have been given something by a friend, you've tested it, and you're still chewing it, and now you remember, oh, I'm fasting, you spit it. If you've swallowed it, and then you remember, oh, I'm fasting, you're not going to bring it out. There are those people who will say, oh, I'm fasting, and I've taken it, and I've just swallowed it, and I have to get rid of it. And they say, oh, I'm gonna, cause myself to puke, to throw up, just because it's gonna nourish my body. So
but
it's
that will not work.
That will not work. Actually, now if you have remembered and it's already in your stomach, you're forgiven. You will continue fasting. But now, if you go ahead and cause yourself to throw up, now throwing up will cause you to ruin your fast. Now you're not fasting anymore. You're supposed to now consider yourself as that day is lost, and you have to pay for it after the month of Ramadan.
Whew. This requires a lot of tolerance, my people. If you have Muslim friends, just support them. Support them, please. This requires a lot of tolerance. I'd like to engage the guest DJ Khalifa. Mambo Vipi. Yes, I'm sure you were pretty curious. We're quite curious, Cassie, about Ramadan. You might be having one question you'd like to ask my panel for the day. Alright.
Kuna time yenye wase wanakula like mnakula usiku na asubuhi. So mchana lazima ni kufast. Kuna option.
Hakuna option.
Okay, nataka kujua hivyo.
As they organize the mic for my DJ, alright,
I'd like to make one very important addition. About
you can ask the question again. The viewers, you can have a mic, tafadhali.
Like kuna time mnakula na time mnakula. Some sekana food sana. So each time tuseme like from 8 mpaka jioni mnakauka tu hivyo.
Exactly.
Hakuna kunywa maji. You just abstain from everything. From everything. And
please.
Okay. And by the way, there are also Christians who fast with us. Like there's so many videos going viral on social media, especially on Facebook and Instagram. Like they're Christians saying, okay, I'm fasting with the Muslims just because the neighbors are Muslims. So in the act of, or in a way of supporting them, they also fast, but they eat breakfast. But during out the day, like siku mzima, they abstain from eating na nini. Na ikifika time ya kuvunja saum, wanakwenda like to the Muslims, wanafuturu na wao.
And this is proof that religion does not have to divide people.
Religion does not have to divide people. Unaona, like there's some other people from other faiths, from other faiths. It doesn't have to be Christians ama nini. Unaona kuna wengine like during this holy month they don't give us that support. Utaona wanakufanyia makruhu, like watakuwekea loud music, ama watahakikisha kwamba yani unajua kuna some kind of acts mtu atakufanyia, yani utaona mtu tu anakufanyia tu ile kusudi ili upate kuvunja saumu yako. Lakini still we are trying to, Muslims are very like hatupendi vita vile sana. Like we are always calm, we will always try find a solution to
every problem
to keep away from every problem that comes our way.
And temptation.
Yeah, and temptation. So yeah, people from other faiths just support us and be good to us and kama bari. See, mimi nakuanga poa kwako.
Especially during Easter you support it. During Christmas you support it.
Yeah, you don't have to hug me, ukiniona usiniag.
So I don't have.
Oh, and also
yeah, usijisahau, hata mimi pia nasahau. Yeah, don't. Oh yeah.
Exactly.
I can't shake hands. So.
Well, one more thing that it's very important that I wanted to add about food, when he asked about food, is, if you love food so much and you abstain from food, if you abstain on food, as it says, people are going to get paid according to their intention. Those who perform acts of worship in order to get the pleasure of the Almighty Allah, they'll get the pleasure of the Almighty Allah. But still, those people who perform the act of worship in order to be seen, like I will say it's time for Salah, and I don't want to get late for Salah, so I will take my mat and start praying here, and because I want you to see that I'm praying, then that the Almighty Allah is not pleased by it, and actually it will be like I am worshipping other people. It's like I'm pleasing other people. So now, on the part of food, I just introduced this hadith to show that if you abstain from food, you're actually doing it for the pleasure of the Almighty Allah. And there are 5 pillars of worship in Islam. There is the Salah, there is the Sawm, which is the fast, and then there is the Zakah, which we will translate it likely as tithe, as Christians would say tithe, and then there is the Hajj, and which other ones that must escape me? Yeah, the Shahada, the Salah,
Hajj, Sawm,
and Zakah. So now all of them, they're upon the Muslim. You perform
What is
them.
zakah?
What?
Zakah.
The act
Zakat.
of giving.
The act of giving.
The act of
Act of
giving.
giving.
Alright.
There is the Zakatul Fitri, which is the tithe that we'll call it the tithe for the sake of understanding for the non-Muslims. So there's the tithe that people give at the end of the Ramadan. It's called Zakatul Fitri. It's Fitri for breaking the fast, which is to enable those who are not financially able to break their fast with all those nice things, to have the ability to also break their fast and have a lot of joy, because the day of Eid al-Fitr is a day of joy for everybody. So that's the Zakatul Fitri. And the other zakat,
it has to be done before the Eid prayer.
Yeah.
Like you have like the whole night. Ndio pale utapata watu like watachinja like during the night, and watagawana like the meat and everything. Alafu ile hiyo time yote like mpaka asubuhi before we go for Eid prayers, watapatiana like neighbors like meat, rice. It has to be the staple food around the town.
Exactly.
Yeah, around that
Alright,
place.
Abdul can go on and on if we give him a chance.
Yes, and by the way,
we're running out of time
I just want to make something. I want to bring in a hadith. Inasema kwamba any person who fasts with faith and he trusts Allah and anaenda kumomba msamaha, like all his past sins are forgiven. So people, usifunge kwa ajili bari ya kuone, usifunge kwa ajili ya birazaka kuone, usifunge ati kwa ajili ya sijui nani akuone. Do it for Allah and all your past sins are forgiven.
So, very briefly, also,
Very briefly. I hope so.
the month of Ramadan is also, it's Muslims' favorite month. It's the month of 2 lights. The light of the Quran, and the other light is it's the Laylatul Qadr, the night when the Quran was revealed. That's the first light. And there is the other light with it, which is if I'm not wrong, I have to really make this clear. The day of Eid also is it's
just Laylatul Qadr,
Laylatul
like the
Qadr.
holy man,
Yeah.
the holy Quran was
Exactly.
revealed on
Yeah.
that night.
So the other acts of worship, like we've said, all of them are upon the Muslims, and you get the reward according to how many times you go into it and how sincere you perform all these acts of worship. But the Almighty Allah says about the fast, He says in the Quran, "As-sawmu li wa ana ajzi bi," which means the fasting is mine, and I am the one who will pay it for you. And there is actually a special door that Muslims who have performed their fasting, as according to the way it's supposed to be performed, they will enter that door. It's called Ar-Rayyan.
Ar-Rayyan.
Yeah, and the
door
Hajjud,
to
like
heaven.
the last kumi la mwisho.
Yeah.
People have to up their tahajjud prayers,
Which is
like
the evening prayer.
the evening
The
prayers,
night
which is
What is
prayed.
Kumi la Mwisho?
Kumi la mwisho, like the holy month of Ramadan, we have the first 10,
Yeah.
second 10, na ya
The
mwisho.
last 10
The
days.
last 10. Ambayo the last 10, it is believed that Laylatul Qadri, it's on the last 10 days of the holy month of Ramadan.
The odd numbers.
The odd numbers.
Odd numbers.
Yeah.
Alright, there are concerns about pregnant women.
Yeah, pregnant women.
Yes.
For
Tell us a little bit about that before Abdul can tell us about it is the last day.
Yeah.
Right.
For the pregnant women, kuna wale ambao they have a lot of complications, na kuna wale ambao yani they can still do it. Like there are pregnant women ambao wanaweza kufunga, na kuna wale ambao they can't do it. So for those who can't do it, wanakubaliwa like they shouldn't be fasting na nini, lakini after Ramadan lazima walipe the days ambazo waliwacha. Yes.
You can't go scot free.
Yeah, no. na kama pia huwezi kulipa zile siku, kuna inaitwa ile kulisha watu,
kulisha maskini,
kulisha maskini. Sikumbuki the exact number, lakini unafaa ulishe maskini
for the number of days that you've not fasted.
No, it's not the number of days. Wallahi sitaki ku mislead watu.
But there's something
about kulisha watu maskini. I think 1,000 if I'm not wrong. I don't want to mislead you.
Is it 40 or is it 40? I'm getting
40,
information
40,
from
yeah, maybe 40. Wallahi nimesahau. Now I don't want to mislead, lakini it has something to it has something to do with that kulisha maskini ambao hawajiwezi. That should be like
all right. Thank you very much.
Eid
in a few words. Because we have to wrap up, Abdul. We can go on and on. Eid in a few words.
So
the D-Day now.
The D-Day, the day of Eid. Like I told you initially, when we started the month of Ramadan, it all depends on the sighting of the moon. If the moon is seen on the 29th of Sha'ban, it means the 30th day of Sha'ban will not be there. That is going to be the first of Ramadan, the following day. Now, if it is not sighted, you have to finish the 30th of Sha'ban, and then you start the first of Ramadan after the 30th of Sha'ban.
So as of now, we don't know the date of Eid.
No.
The day of
you
Eid is
know,
not
Muslims, we go by the lunar. Atuangali like si kama hivi January, February, March, tunajua tu itafika 29th ama itafika 30th ama nini. We go by the moon. Wana kama before we started fasting, tuliangalia moon kwanza on 29th, hatukuona, and we had to finish 30th ndio tukaingia Ramadan. So it will be just like after tukifika 29th day of Ramadan, tutaangalia mwezi. Kama hatutaona mwezi, that's when tutamaliza 30th, na inshallah after the 30th sasa that's when we are celebrating the Eid.
All right. So your social media handles, as you wish the YintheMorning family happy Ramadan. Is it right to say
say Ramadan Mubarak or Ramadan Kareem wa Saum Maqbul?
Yes, I love YintheMorning because I learn so much.
Exactly.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Yes,
right.
Ramadan Mubarak and Saum Maqbul.
All right, your social media handles as you wish them Ramadan Mubarak.
Okay, my social media handles it at Nasra Nurain on Twitter, at Nasra_Nurain on Instagram, at Facebook at Nasra Nurain, and Ramadan Kareem wa Saum Maqbul inshallah to all Muslims. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now my Twitter handle is @officialrazaki, and also on Facebook @officialrazaki. Also on other social media platforms, I am @officialrazaki. From me and from the Y254 YintheMorning family, I'd like to wish you all Muslims Ramadan Kareem and Saum Maqbul, and inshallah remember after the Ramadan to continue the good acts and don't let your faith end in the Ramadan. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.